Rainbow Magic Belle the Birthday Fairy. Story 1. The Birthday Bug. I can't wait to see Mom's face when she arrives at her surprise party, Rachel Walker said as she and her best friend Kirsty Tate happily swung her roller skates on their way to the park. She'll be amazed when she realizes that you and your dad will arrange it all, Kirsty grinned. She was staying at Rachel's house in Tippington for half term, and for the party, everything is ready. Rachel went on. The food, the music, the decorations for the village hall, and Dad ordered a cake from the baker's. As they passed the village hall where the party was to be held, Rachel squeezed Kirsty's hand and quickly looked inside, she said. "Oh, yes," replied Kirsty eagerly, and they put their heads around the door. A group of party guests were there, but no one was having much fun. The parents were clearing up squashed cakes and spilled drinks. And instead of playing music, the CD player was making strange whining sounds. Rachel and Kirsty looked around and saw a little girl in a pink dress looking sad. "Is this your party?" Rachel asked her. "Yes," she nodded sadly, "but everything's gone wrong. We can't even dance." The two older girls tried their best to comfort her. When they got to the park, the girls put on their skates, but they both still felt upset about the little girl's party being ruined. If only one of the party fairies had been there, they could have helped, Kirsty sighed. The girls were good friends with the fairies, often helping them out with bad-tempered Jack Frost and his naughty goblin servants. "You're right," said a musical voice close by, peering through the hedge. The girls saw a tiny fairy sitting cross-legged. She had brown hair and was wearing a pretty purple dress with a sparkly gold ballet pumps. "Hi, girls," she smiled. "I'm Belle the Birthday Fairy, and I need your help." "Hi, Belle," said Rachel and Kirsty together. "What's wrong?" "Jack Frost has stolen my birthday charms, and we must get them back." Belle explained that birthday charms make sure birthdays go smoothly in fairyland and the human world. With the charms in Jack Frost's hands, birthdays everywhere were going wrong. Will you come to fairyland and help me search for clues?" asked Belle. "Of course," the girls cried together. Belle waved her wand and multicolored sparkles spun all around them. A few moments later, they were fluttering over fairyland. As they fluttered above emerald green hills, Kirsty became curious about the birthday charms they were looking for. Belle explained. "The birthday bug contains everyone's birthday. Without it, nobody knows when birthdays are. The girls nodded as Belle went on. The birthday candle makes a birthday cake delicious and grants wishes. The birthday present makes sure everyone received the perfect gift. Without those charms, nobody will ever have a happy birthday again, said Rachel. She looked very glum. That's why Jack Frost stole them, cried Belle. It's his birthday soon, and he's feeling really miserable about his age and wants everyone else to be miserable too. How mean, said Kirsty. As they flew over the glittering fairyland palace, Kirsty saw something. Look, she exclaimed. Far below, they could see 3 goblins scrambling up ladder and into the palace. They're up to mischief, said Belle. Let's see what we can find about what's going on. Belle and the girls zoomed through the back door of the palace. Turning a corner, they watched the pesky goblins tiptoed into the palace library. What if it has something to do with the birthday charms? Whispered Rachel. Let's creep in and listen to what they are saying. The fairies fluttered silently into the cozy library. Look, whispered Rachel as they ducked behind the armchair. The goblins were pulling books from shelves and throwing them on the floor. Hurry up! A tall goblin hissed. We need to know what Jack Frost's birthday is so we can plan his surprise party. The girls stared at each other. The birthday was hidden in the palace library. The goblins wanted the books as much as we do, Kirsty realized. Let's try to persuade them and help us. She got up. We overheard what you said about the party, Kirsty began bravely. You need that book as much as we do. The goblins whirled around in surprise. We'll let you stay and look up Jack Frost's birthday if you promise to return the book to Belle, added Rachel. The frowning goblins huddled together and after lots of muffled arguing, they agreed. The search went on and on. While outside the library, the sun began to set. At last, when every shelf had been searched, they pulled the cushions off the chairs, and there it was. I've got it, yelled the smallest goblin. The little goblin waved the shining book above his head, but it flew out of his hands and landed safely on Belle's arms. As Belle turned the shimmering pages of the birthday book, the goblin spotted Jack Frost's name. They found his birthday list on the list and skirted off. Thanks for helping me find this, said Belle to the girls. But it's time you to return to the human world. Belle smiled as she flicked her wand. There was a whoosh on the rainbow-colored sparkles. When Kirsty and Rachel opened their eyes again, they were back into human world. I can't wait for our next fairy adventure, smiled Kirsty. Story 2, The Birthday Candle. hope it stops raining before Mom's surprise party on Saturday," said Rachel. She and Christy were at the bakery to collect Mrs. Walker's birthday cake. They were looking at the yummy treats on the window. Inside the bakery, delicious smells filled the air. "We've come to collect the birthday cake for Mrs. Walker," Rachel said to the baker behind the window. "Oh dear," he replied sadly. "I'm having terrible trouble with the cake." Behind him, the girls could see what he meant. There was a wonky cake with icing sliding off and sticky decorations lying beside it. Suddenly, Kirsty tugged on Rachel's arm. "We'll come back tomorrow," she said, walking out of the shop. Why are we leaving so quickly?" asked Rachel, surprised. "Because of what I've just seen at the window," Kirsty whispered arrogantly. Back outside, Kirsty pointed at 3 people who were crowding under one small umbrella. All 3 of them were wearing wellies, but Rachel looked again, and when she realized about the wellies, they could see green legs. "They're goblins," she gasped. The girls stared in amazement at silly green creatures. The goblins scurried into the bakery, splashing rainwater everywhere. "I don't know what they are doing here," said Kirsty, "but we are getting soaked." And as Kirsty raised her umbrella above their heads, it began to glow inside like a glitter ball. "Belle!" smiled Kirsty as the tiny fairy spellered down the handle. "Thank goodness you're here. The 3 goblins have just gone to the bakery." "I know," said Belle unhappily, "but I'm sure they're planning some mischief." "We came to collect Mom's cake," said Rachel, "but it's all wonky." Belle sighed. "No birthday cakes will bake properly until we find the missing birthday candle charm." "Belle, could you turn us into fairies?" asked Kirsty. "We are just find out what those goblins are up to do." With a wave of Belle's wand and fluttery of sparkles, the girls shrank to fairy size. The bakery door was ajar, so the 3 fairies slipped inside and watched as the baker brought the cake after cake to show the goblins. "These aren't good enough," said the tallest one. "Boring," shouted the middle goblin, poking the bonky finger into the cake. "But this is my best selection," cried the baker. "Ha!" snored the tallest goblin. "We are from the Cake Sandars board, and we'll shut this bakery down unless you start making better ones." "We could make better cakes than standing on your heads," yelled the middle goblin. "Get out!" screeched the smallest goblin on the confused baker. "Go, go, go!" added the middle goblin. He gave the baker an umbrella and pushed him towards the door. I suppose I could take my lunch break now." The poor baker watched as the goblins locked the door behind him. "Why are they so being horrible?" asked Rachel. "Let's find out," said Belle. She fluttered after the goblins as they disappeared into the kitchen at the back of the shop. The goblins were running around the kitchen, spilling flour and breaking eggs. "Oh no!" Kirsty exclaimed. "They're wrecking the place." "I think they're trying to make a cake," said Belle as they watched the goblins stir ingredients in the mixing bowl. "Stop shoving me!" squawked one of the goblins as he broke an egg over another's head. "Shut up and fetch some candle," the tallest goblin snapped. The middle one stomped over the pile of coats and pulled a beautiful shimmering cake candle out of one of the pockets. "That's it," said Belle. "That's my birthday candle charm." Goblins were still arguing and crashing around the kitchen. Just then, Rachel saw the one holding with the candle and a large spoonful chili powder on the bowl. "That's going to taste horrible," she whispered. At last, the goblin put the candle down on the worktop. He turned to put his cake into the oven. Rachel gulped, then flew down and grabbed the candle, just as the goblin turned back again. "It's one of my pesky fairies," he cried, grabbing a sieve and bringing it crashing down on top of Rachel. She was trapped. "Goblins, give me the candle and let Rachel go," insisted Belle, swooping down. "Janet," snapped the tallest goblin. "Does Jack Frost know you're here?" said Kirsty. The goblins went pale green. "No, we want his birthday cake to be a surprise," said the smallest goblin in a trembling voice. So that's what they were doing," thought Kirsty. "Without magic," she explained, "your cake will take hours to cook, and the baker will be back soon. If you help us, Belle can speed everything up a bit to help you." The goblins pulled faces at each other before nodding in agreement. Belle waved her wand and finished the cake floated out of the oven. It landed safely on the table. "It's horrible," gasped Kirsty. "It's spectacular," grinned the goblins. "The cake was great, ugly, and misshapen. Perfect for Jack Frost." The middle goblin lifted her sieve and Rachel made her escape. Belle flew down and picked up the birthday candle. She waved her wand over the cake. In a sparkle of magic, it was transformed into Jack Frost's face and topped with a large candle. The goblins grabbed it without bothering to say thank you and rushed out of the door. Belle flicked her wand and the whole room shimmered. When the sparkles faded, the kitchen was gleamed. A cake decorated with pink icing and pink hearts was sitting on the worktop. "Perfect!" Rachel cried. Outside, Belle returned Rachel and Kirsty to human size. Thank you too. Birthday cakes and wishes are safe," she said. Belle appeared in a fluttering of fairy dust, clutching the precious birthday candle. "I hope we can find the last missing birthday charm before Mom's party," said Rachel. "I just know we can," Kirsty grinned. Story 3, The Birthday Present. everyone shouted. Balloons flew in the air and party poppers rained colorful streams over astonished Mrs. Walker. What a wonderful surprise! She smiled as guests wished her a happy birthday. Everything's going really well, Kirsty said too, in a low voice. I'm afraid that Jack Frost would spoil it because he still got the Belle's birthday present charm. That reminds me, it's time to give Mom her special gift, said Rachel in an excitement. It's a jewelry box. I can't wait to see her face when she opens it. The two girls and Mr. Walker handed the gift to Mrs. Walker, who carefully undid the wrapping paper. Oh, she exclaimed, her face falling. Instead of a beautiful jewelry box, she found a muddy old boot inside. It's not fair, Rachel whispered to Kirsty. Mom would have loved that jewelry box. Beckoning Kirsty to follow her, she hurried outside and put her hand on the magical locket around her neck. The King and Queen of the fairyland had given a locket full of fairy dust to each of the girls, so they could use them to go to fairyland in an emergency. We must have help Belle find her happy birthday present charm, Rachel said. They sprinkled sparkling dust from the lockets over their head. A glittering whir tumbled them the air towards fairyland. The fairy-side girls found themselves inside the fairyland palace. It didn't take them long to find Belle and describe what happened on the party. Belle sighed and led them and the king and queen. They explained all preparations for Jack Frost's own surprise party were going wrong, all because he had hidden the birthday present somewhere in his ice castle. We could go to the ice castle and hunt for it, Rachel offered at once. We want to help, Kirsty agreed. Belle can go with you, but watch out, warned the King Oberon. It's very dangerous. The three fairies gazed up at Jack Frost's gleaming icy home, wondering how they were ever going to get inside. The goblin guards were everywhere. Look, cried Kirsty as she spilled a goblin zooming towards the castle on the motorbike, pulling a trailer. Quick as a flash, Belle, Rachel, and Kirsty hid themselves in the trailer. They rumbled along the icy road until the engine was turned off. Then they heard a goblin walking away. They made it. The three brave fairies fluttered out and a long, cold, gloomy corridor until they reached a door with great tall carved velvet. The girls darted into the hall and began their frantic search under the tablecloths and behind curtains, but there were no presents, only cobwebs and wood ice. Jack Frost's magnificent ice throne stood a platform in the center of the room. Eventually, Rachel crouched down behind and discovered a space underneath. It was full of beautiful wrapped gifts. They pulled them one by one until Rachel found a tiny box wrapped in pink paper. It's much sparklier than the others, she said. That's that's because it's my birthday present charm, whispered Belle, her eyes shining with excitement. Suddenly, the girls heard blabbing goblin voices. Quick, said Kirsty. Let's get back to the palace. Belle waved her wand, but nothing happened. Jack Frost must have put a spell on the room, she explained. My magic doesn't work, and if we can't return the birthday present to the Fairyland Palace, the Goblins' party preparations won't work either. Rachel gazed up at the windows. One of them was open. Belle saw what Rachel was thinking. We can't fly out of there, she said. The goblins would grab us. And if we're distracted, replied Rachel with a smile. Belle looked worried, but there was no other way to return the birthday present. Hey, goblins, over here, shouted a brave Kirsty. Silly green creatures howled with anger and chased the fairies. None of them saw. Belle slipped out of the window. Rachel and Kirsty flitted out of the hall, dodging the goblins' grabbing hands, and jumped into another's shoulders and tried to grab Rachel, but she did a somersault in the midair. The goblin lost his balance and crashed to the floor with a yell. Fairies, what's going on? Or roared Jack Frost from the doorway on the great hall. He looked at the shelves all around. The goblins are trying to throw you a birthday party, said a gentle voice of Queen Tiana. She had arrived just in time. With a wave in Queen's wand, the great hall was transformed into a sparkling party scene. The surprised Jack Frost was even more shocked when the goblins singing Happy Birthday carried in the cake with a picture of his face on. It was the best party ever held at the Ice Castle. As the night fell, Queen Tiana beckoned to Rachel and Kirsty. Thanks to you, we are able to show Jack Frost and that birthday can be fun, said the Queen. Now I believe you have another party to attend. Kirsty said goodbye as the whirl of glittering fairy dust surrounded them. When the sparkles faded, they were back at the Tippington Village Hall, and they were just in time to see Mrs. Walker opening her beautiful jewelry box. It's a perfect present, said Kirsty, but no gift would be better than the adventure we've just had. Rachel smiled.